Winter is upon us, and although the flora is dying back and the fauna is hunkering down, we
have even more work to do.
This next year will be my first full year, and I plan on being fully food self-sufficient. I've already calculated that I need 1/8 of an acre for my grains, along with a greenhouse for peppers, kale, and tomatoes. My barn will house plenty of sheep for meat and milk. And of course, I have the chicken coop for my eggs. Glorious, glorious eggs! Today we are going to discuss everything that I'm planning for this next year. Let's get started. Last time we talked about essentials. Land for planting, land for grazing. We've added some more land though. I like money, and I like ducks. So I built a separate pen and coop to keep my new duck hatching operation, as well as my egg-laying hens, and my geese Sugarfoot and Blackbeak. After all, someone has to keep the peace around here. I'll build a separate area for raising the duck's offspring later. The processed ducks should go for a good price. I have a little pond where I could build yet another coop and fence the pond in. Making money is great, but saving money is even better. One of the biggest expenses of a home is heating. I have a wood stove that I just put in. My house is fairly open concept, so heat flow is not a big concern. That being said, I will let you know how it goes. Now that we've just made free heat for ourselves, let's talk about electricity. I want to install a limited number of solar panels to power the deep freezers. This should be a good, low-cost entry point for working on solar panel systems. Refrigeration is the only real necessity that you have for an off-grid house, without doing a ton of pickling. So that takes care of heat and power. Let's go to water. Distilling water. This is tricky stuff, but with a good microscope and testing kits, let's see how far we can push it. Without dying of dysentery, of course. I have 4,300 square feet of non-permeable roof space from which to gather water, not including the greenhouses. At 58 inches per year, I get roughly 156,000 gallons of rainwater per year on those impermeable surfaces. I use about 50 gallons a day, so we're in good shape. Only about 3 gallons of which actually needs to be potable. I'll start with some traditional heating for the distiller, then maybe I'll try some bull with mirrors. Next, as jacked and tan as it would make me, I can't till all of the land by hand. Or can I? 1/8 of an acre is not that big. Maybe it's time for a
time trial.
Of course, we'll need to do a preliminary test on the soil. Why not send a sample off to be tested at our local university extension? Now, speaking of capital investment, it looks like I'll have a chicken plucker in my future, given that the math actually makes sense, because I'm likely to slaughter well over 100 chickens next year. Next, on to the livestock. The livestock pasture will need an electric fence. I don't want to lose any heads, so I'm going fairly heavy on the fence's energy. Leave nothing to risk this close to the forest. Who knows what might come for my sheep? Heat, power, water, food. All the main needs are met. Well, we got here fast, didn't we? But why stop just at needs? What kind of life would that be? Scraping by. We are not livestock, are we not men? The northern field is a buffer zone between the forest and my precious farm. It is also bereft of any fencing. It would cost thousands to enclose it with electric fence. Instead, I'm going to promote the growth of helpful flowers and give my newfound bees something to work with. I have plans for that, honey. Wax, curing, and drink. And I can't wait. Now, the major time sink on this farm is travel. So I had to think, what means of conveyance can move men and materials, takes minimum space, can be easily automated, can scale up payload weight or distance traveled very easily, can operate out in the elements year-round, while entailing the lowest cost per distance traveled. Only a fool would miss out on an opportunity to steal someone else's work. That system already exists. Here's a challenge. Pause the video, think for a moment, and ask yourself, what system already does all of those things? Take a minute. All right, time's up. Knuckles down, gents and gentettes. My answer was ski lifts. Your answer might also be very valid. I'll steal those too. They operate in the roughest weather, carry people and objects long distances, and can scale up to preposterous proportions. They also have few moving parts, so they are fundamentally more reliable than, say, a car. Finally, the maintenance is easy. So long as there is no damage, they just need attentioning here and there. I don't even need that one moving part either, since I'm not going up a mountain. I can just use zip lines and get nearly all of the benefits. Oh, we're just getting started though. The two nutrients that are the most vexing, the most difficult to get a hold of, are calcium and vitamin D. Vitamin D can be had from sun exposure and fish, but calcium is hard. Maybe some people can't have a sheep to milk every day. Enter the shrimp. Yes, yes, yes. From my travels to the Orient, I saw people raising shrimp at home or in the restaurant in fish tanks. They're delicious and their shells are an excellent source of calcium. I'll experiment with the Macrobrachium rosenbergi, a very large freshwater shrimp. What does it eat? How large of a tank do I need? How many living sections do I require to segregate the life cycle stages? How can I ensure they are breeding properly? Stay tuned, true believers, and keep on growing. All right, well, let's see how that goes. Ba 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 da 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 ba ba da 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 ba da 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 ba ba.